It's so sweet to see that the people on Twitter are getting a taste of their own medicine. Because in a normal, healthy society, which would be created by moi, people would be able to say literally whatever words they wanted. And it would depend based on context, on whether something is bad or not. So, for example, even the case of the N word, like if you're a news anchor and you're saying this guy got fired because he said it and you reproduce the word, which I'm not allowed to say on YouTube, I don't think you should get fired for that. Or if you're a girl that posts rap lyrics, I don't think you should get in trouble with the cops for that. Right? Because it matters on the context that you say it. Not to mention that 80% of language is verbal, and even part of the one that we used to speak, a lot of it is context based, isn't it? But no, again, we do not live in my world. We live in the progressive utopia, in the multilateral, multi-diverse, equitable society that has been created for us. And as such, I understand that certain words are a big no-no. Now, the question is, who gets to decide what words are a no-no and which words aren't? Because, for example, the word retard is considered to be a slur. Like on Twitter, you can get banned if you say it. But the word cretin, moron, imbecile is fine. So it's really arbitrary, isn't it? It's also interesting that some people get to use the word. Going back to the N word, you have black people which are allowed to say it. Even on YouTube, I have seen it. And the idea is that, well, they are actually taking back the word, right? Like it's something wholesome and they're taking it back. And I'm thinking, like, if that's the case, why are they using it as an insult towards one another? Like, I have seen black people that have beef with each other and they get into a fight and they use the word as a pejorative slur. How are you saying that it's something wholesome that they're reclaiming? Like, none of these things make sense, right? So it's obvious that someone is making the rules. And the answer is that rich people get to make the rules, right? Like a rich person, usually in the academia, but someone who makes more money than you, right? With a lot more influence than you, gets to arbitrarily decide it's like, okay, super straight is a problematic term. So super straight used to be a couple of years ago, like some guy said, okay, bisexuality is basically I only have sex with biological women, right? So he's excluding trans people from that, and that is transphobic. Okay, so by that logic, a gay man who excludes women from having sex with, well, he's misogynistic, isn't he, right? A lesbian, which doesn't want to have sex with men, is also a misandrist. But again, like, the logic doesn't apply. All of these things are completely arbitrary. They come out of the blue like a diktat from the Communist Party, and you have to follow them. But now it seems that the shoe is on the other foot. Now you have like a right winger like Elon Musk, which is saying, okay, well, the word cis is a slur. And by the way, by all accounts and definitions, it is. Anyone that disagrees, please show me a news article where the word cisgender white man is being used in a positive way. You know what? I'll even be charitable with you. I want to see it when it's used in a neutral way. You will not find such a thing. Like, you're going to be very hard pressed. Because usually, it's always in a negative situation. Where it's like the cisgender white man is considered to be the problem in the article. You know, like, we need to take money away from him, give reparations, stop hiring him, you know, like that type of thing. So yeah, by all accounts and purposes, the word cis is a slur. It's not only that, but most cis people do not identify as such. And if you go on Twitter, you'll even see activists that use the word sissy or, you know, like various pejoratives in order to insult and demean people, dehumanize them, right? Oh, very dangerous. And if I also were to apply more leftist logic to this, take into account that the left believes in the genetic fallacy. So the genetic fallacy states that if something comes from a bad place, right, like if a bad man has said it, then it must be false. So for example, if Hitler says that 2 plus 2 equals 4 or that you should stop smoking, then it's false because Hitler has said it, right? So for example, cultural Marxism is considered very problematic because the Nazis, according to the left, invented the term. I don't know if that is true or not, but I'm just giving it as an example, right? So if we look at who made the word cis, it's a man by the name of Volkmar Schigusch from Germany, right? Which had a very interesting sexuality, according to him, like self-proclaimed. And he is the one that made this term. Now, it's interesting that it's coming to a public debate because a lot of these queer theorists who set the ideology in stone, when you look at their life, like Dr. Moody, for example, and you look at what they did, most of the general public may not appreciate. So a lot of activists prefer that the public doesn't even look into Foucault, Dr. Moody, this gentleman, Volkmar. It's best to leave their private life private, okay? Don't look too much into it. So, by all accounts, from what I'm looking at left-leaning principles, the word cis is a slur. And yes, they should stop using it. I don't care. You can say whatever you want to me. It's not going to affect me. But seeing how upset they are over this makes me happy. Yes, because it makes me happy because the rules are now being applied to them. And it shows me that they disagree with the rules. They don't like the rules, right? Like, they do not like the culture that they created for others, right? Like, they thought that they're going to be the referees. They thought that they're going to be from the sidelines and watch how people are suffering. But now that the culture is applied on them, they are also suffering. Yes, and the word suffering is very adequate to point how they're reacting on Twitter. It's like the fact that they can't insult people with this particular one seems to affect them greatly. It's like, oh, well, how are we going to express ourselves? Well, as a right-winger, I can tell you. Oh, thank you for coming to my channel. If you want to use the word cis, and you're not allowed, then say, person who identifies with their observed gender at birth. Observed, not assigned. Assigned should also be offensive. Because a doctor does not assign, right? Like, if a doctor sees a penis, he will not say, it's a girl. And then the parents go like, what do you mean? And the doctor, well, I have the power to assign. It doesn't work that way. He observes, right? So, let's be very politically correct about this. But, this is literally what the left does, right? Like, you can't just say one word. You now have like an entire sentence that you need to utter. You can't say handicapped. You need to say people which are at a disadvantage or something like that. It's like instead of saying just one word, which is normal for language to communicate with people, you need to have like a sausage of words now in order to say just something very simple. So, this is why I find Elon Musk interesting. Obviously, it's the same Twitter as before. Not much has changed, but bringing these things into the public conversation and seeing how many people are upset over the fact that they can't insult others is a little bit hilarious. Seriously, just like, why do you have to use the slur? Because, we know on Twitter, you're not using it in order to have, philosophical debates and describe reality. No, you're using it to attack people and insult. Knowing that they can't insult you back. This is the very interesting thing, right? So they will call someone cis, but you can't call them a slur back, because then you get struck down by the might of the community terms of service, which is literally why they do it, right? Because they know that the TOS is on their side, so they can be aggressive, attack other people, and then the other people can't fight back. They can't defend themselves. It's horrible. And by the way, I believe that I should be able to use the word cis, right? Isn't that how it works? If you're part of the community that's targeted, then you get to use it. Like, black people can use the N-word, gay people can use their word, and it's like, right? Isn't that how it works? Isn't that progressive? If we're going to apply the logic, it should be applied all the way. And if at any point the activists come to the table and say, this is ridiculous, I would be like, yeah, I agree. Can we do something about it? Can we stop it? Can we stop? Can we all just use the English language on a context-based system rather than on a word-based system? If you guys want that, then sure, But until then, you made the game. We play by your rules. You made the meta. Let me know what you guys think, and as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.